I can't believe they finally caught this guy. I'm just continuing to refresh here, people. So I totally gave up on this yesterday and said, screw it. This is too much time. And I was too frustrated and I was getting crabby. Well, I'm having coffee, watching the shaming of Jay on Kick. And all of a sudden he's like, holy cow, they caught this guy? So I figured, well, I've come this far since what, last Sunday? Might as well just cover this now. I'm really curious where they found him. Gotta be starting any second here. Really curious where he came from. And who caught him? Which law enforcement agency nabbed him? .30 a.m. it says. Chester County DA, that's where we are. Well, it's only 9:31. 1 minute late. Thank you for joining me. I'll turn up the spooky music as soon as they start. Oh, this is interesting. Here, hold on a second. Here's a more detailed photo of captured Danelo Cavalcante. He's wearing a Philadelphia Eagles shirt. Here's a video of him. Might be refreshing over here. Nope, nothing yet. There he goes. Wow, he's in rough shape here. Well, that's what happens when you elude law enforcement for 2 weeks. Double murderer. Still not on. I just retweeted this on Twitter. I'll copy link on my other 2 social media platforms. U.S. Border Patrol strike team was the team that eventually found and arrested. Thank God. Look at these brave men and women. Look at, they've got a photo right with him. Good. Look at those guys. Heroes. Restored our faith. Still nothing. Heroes. God bless them. Look at that dog. Looks like a Labrador. It's the same video. So it looks like that's what's floating around. Looks like the road route they're taking is providing a nice reminder of the... Oh. There's another picture of him. Refreshing. Still nothing. That's the one from yesterday. Well, I guess they're not on time. All right, let's just keep scrolling through the latest. See what we can glean on the capture. Chester County. Okay, here's Fox News Live. You know what? I'm gonna maybe open this because sometimes the last couple press conferences, copy link. The last couple press conferences I've covered through, well, actually, the only ones I've ever covered are through the Facebook, and on occasion, the quality is shitty.
Thing better than having a friend with a truck is having a friend with a bigger truck.
Okay, I can only get as high as 720. That's where we're at. Sometimes the Facebook one's gotten kind of glitchy. So let's just use this. Let's just use this now. I'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, quality's not that great. I've tried Twitch. It's not good. Here's another picture of law enforcement. Yeah, it's a Labrador. Black Lab. Nice. There's another picture of him. All right. Hang tight, folks. I'll give you the big picture here. I'll turn off the spooky music in a moment. Here's a 30-second clip.
Look in the juxtaposition
Here's
here,
a 30-second clip from Fox.
and then there we go, and there's the vehicle that's taking off. And so we're learning now as we take a look in the juxtaposition here, when they first captured him, when they first caught him, they put his hands behind his back, to now he's being taken away to S.D.N.Y. Phoenix. We've learned that he was found inside of a shed there at Prisers. That's where they found him. And
inside of a shed.
That stolen rifle with him.
Well, you better believe he had that rifle with him. I think that he probably thought that was his best chance, the fact that he got that.
And then there we go, and there's the vehicle that's taking off.
Oh, the lady just checked.
So we're learning now as we take a look.
Lady just checked the microphone.
Here, when they first captured him, when they first caught him, they put his hands behind his back, to now he's being taken away to S.D.N.Y. Phoenix. We've learned that he was found inside of a shed there at Prisers. That's where they found him.
Prisers inside of a shed is where they found him.
Well, you better believe he had that rifle with him. I think that he probably thought that was his best chance, the fact that he got that.
Okay. Okay, they're just testing the microphone, people. I'm going to mute myself. All right, looks like we're ready to go here. Listen up, people. Apparently, he was caught by U.S. Border Patrol agents in some type of facility on Pfizer Road. That's what I'm hearing. I want to remind you all, I have no control over the quality of their video. I have it as high as it will let me be. My God, I'm so glad they got this guy. All right, people, you are past due. Give us the deets. Hopefully they show that picture I showed you about 5 minutes ago from Twitter, all the border agents and that looks like a black lab surrounding him in the center, like catching their bounty picture. I hope they show that. It's beautiful. And I'm going to leave it on this Fox News link because the press conferences I've been covering have been always through their Facebook link. And it does tend to glitch the more people that enter the room. So I'm just going to leave it here. I hope you don't mind. There he is. Why do they have two of the same picture? I want to see that beautiful picture of all the border agents that caught him, surrounding him. God bless these men and women. Maybe there's some women in there. There's pictures where he's got blood streaming down his face, like gushing from the top of his head. I wonder how that happened. Yeah. Take a nice picture.
Good morning. I'm pleased to be able to report that thanks to the extraordinary work of law enforcement officials from here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, our local leaders here in Chester County, and from our federal partners all across this nation, shortly after 8 a.m., our suspect was captured. I want to say, first and foremost, thank God there were no injuries to law enforcement or to the public. We obviously became deeply concerned after the suspect was able to steal a weapon. He was apprehended this morning with no shots fired. I want to say thank you to the dedicated law enforcement professionals from every level who each and every day go out of their homes, leave their families, leave their loved ones to keep us safe. The public, over the last 13 days, has had a chance to see what excellence in law enforcement means, what true dedicated professionalism is all about. I couldn't be more proud to be standing up here today with these professionals from every level. And while they did extraordinary work, we had a tremendous assist from the public here in Chester County. I want to say thank you to the public for their vigilance. Thank you for the constructive tips that they shared. Thank you for remaining on guard. We recognize this has been a concerning and trying time for each and every one of you in the region. And we want to thank you for your support of law enforcement and for your support of this effort that led to this capture today. I hope the good people of Pennsylvania, and indeed the folks all across this nation, got a chance to see how government is supposed to work, how law enforcement is supposed to work, where we all come together, where we focus on the mission. And while the women and men up here behind me may wear different uniforms and different badges, we were here with common purpose, and that was to apprehend this suspect and keep people safe. Leading this effort has been the Pennsylvania State Police. And I know I'm going to get booed by some of the folks behind me for saying this. I believe they are the finest law enforcement agency in the United States of America. And I could not be more proud to be the governor of this Commonwealth and to have the chance to serve in public service alongside these great leaders in the Pennsylvania State Police. Leading the effort for us is Colonel Christopher Paris, who did yeoman's work overseeing this operation together with Lieutenant Colonel Bivens. All Pennsylvanians, gentlemen, are indebted to you for your bravery, for your courage, and for your tremendous leadership. And with that, it's my honor to bring up the Colonel of the Pennsylvania State Police, Colonel Christopher Paris.
Thank you, Governor. I would like to make a few brief comments. I'd like to dedicate those comments to the victims of Cavalcante and their families. At the end of the day, all of the people behind me here work for justice and for the victims. A close second to the people of Chester County. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate the dedication that you have shown us and the generosity that you have shown us. We are in your debt. This was a major operation. We know that it has affected your lives, and we're very much appreciative of that support. I'd like to thank the governor and his support of us, not only with his physical presence, but his work in Harrisburg on a daily basis. I'd like to thank the Border Patrol, Customs, the FBI, the Marshals, the ATF, our federal partners, the Chester County District Attorney, Deb Ryan, and her Chief County Detective, Dave Sassa. Our municipal partners, too numerous to mention here in Chester, Montgomery, Delaware, and Bucks counties. We could not have done this without everyone. I would like to thank, from the bottom of our hearts, the members of the Pomar Lynn Fire Company. I know the media has been in and out of here. The hospitality that they have shown us, the logistics that you need to bring to bear in an operation like this, we would have been hard-pressed to do that without them being good hosts to us. Lastly, but certainly not least in any way, shape, or form, to the women and men of the Pennsylvania State Police, thank you. Thank you for your hard work and your diligence. This is my third manhunt with Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens. It's not lost on me that it was 9 years to the day yesterday for the Blooming Grove ambush. And in all of those operational cycles, there is no person who enjoys more of my trust and confidence. He was tasked with standing this operation up. My confidence in him is marrow deep. He is the consummate professional. And I would now like to turn it over to Lieutenant Colonel Bivens to give you the operational rundown of the capture of Cavalcante. Lieutenant Colonel Bivens.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Colonel. It is a true pleasure to stand here this morning and talk to all of you about bringing this manhunt to a successful conclusion and without getting anyone else hurt, most importantly. None of this would be possible without the support of this team represented by members of various agencies standing with us up here, by others standing throughout this fire hall, and by still more who are out there in the field. So let me give you a few details about how this unfolded. As you know, we have been working most recently in a perimeter established in northern Chester County. Last night, shortly after midnight, a series of events started to unfold. First, we had a burglar alarm at a residence near Prizer Road within the perimeter. Our people investigated that, did not find Cavalcante there or anyone else, but it started to bring some of our people into that area. We had been searching an area not far from there already with some tactical teams that night. There was an aircraft overhead utilizing FLIR technology, and close to 1 a.m. picked up a heat signal that they began to track. It was west of PA 100 and north of Prizer Road. Tactical teams began to converge on that location where the heat source was moving. Unfortunately, we had a weather system that also came in, and we had lightning that was flashing all around, and it caused the aircraft to have to depart the area. Tactical teams made a decision to secure that area, that smaller area, as best they could and hold it through the storm and until we could bring additional resources in and bring aircraft back overhead to ensure that we did not have an issue with an escape. That resumed early this morning, and shortly after 8 a.m., tactical teams converged on the area where the heat source was. They were able to move in very quietly. They had the element of surprise. Cavalcante did not realize he was surrounded until that had occurred. That did not stop him from trying to escape. He began to crawl through thick underbrush, taking his rifle with him as he went. One of the Customs and Border Control teams, BORTAC, had a dog with them. They released the dog. Some of our PSP CERT members were also there, had him surrounded. The dog subdued him, and team members from both of those teams immediately moved in. He continued to resist, but was forcibly taken into custody. No one was injured as a result of that. Excuse me. He did sustain a minor bite wound. We had medical personnel at the scene, and they took a look at that. Cavalcante was, as I said, taken into custody. He was transported to our Avondale station for further processing and interview, and he will ultimately be transferred to a state correctional institute where he will be housed and begin to serve his life sentence. In just a few minutes, I'll open this up to some questions, but before I do that, I want to turn this over to one of our very close partners, District Attorney Deb Ryan. I know she would like to say a few words, and again, then we'll be happy to take your questions following that.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Bivens. Today is a great day here in Chester County. Our nightmare is finally over and the good guys won. We owe a debt of gratitude to all of the first responders for their tireless and dedicated efforts in bringing this fugitive to justice. They worked around the clock, and we are deeply grateful to all of them. Our community can finally regain its normalcy and breathe a collective sigh of relief. This would not have happened without the collaboration and efforts on behalf of a multitude of agencies. I need to thank the governor, Colonel Paris, Lieutenant Colonel Bivens for his unflappable and dedicated leadership, the U.S. Marshals, the Chester County Detectives, the FBI, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, the Department of Emergency Services, the Sheriff's Department, and every single person who went out into the field in the most horrendous conditions. We had weather problems, we had terrain problems, and a ton of obstacles that prevented our capture from occurring as expediently as we wanted. We have the best people in the business, and we never lost faith that this capture would occur. We knew that it was just a matter of time. The scope of this manhunt was extremely impressive. The brave men and women who went out there every single day are our heroes. And I am proud to be a part of this collective team of people who worked around the clock to bring this man to justice during this monumental challenge. They utilized every piece of advanced technology, dogs, drones, helicopters, every asset available was put out for this capture. I can't express our gratitude deep enough to all of them and to the community for their support. We received dozens and dozens of donations, well wishes, and kind support from everyone in the community, and we thank this firehouse for housing us. We know we disrupted their lives for a while. One of the first calls we made upon learning about this capture was to the Brandow family, who, as you can imagine, had been living in a complete nightmare. They are so grateful to the men and women who helped with this capture. They can now finally sleep again. I can't thank law enforcement enough for their efforts. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we will be happy to take your questions. Yes.
With the helicopter overboard, we saw the arrest taking place. There was some criticism about the photo op that was taken with the fugitive. Can you explain how that's actually a standard procedure, or what's the reasoning behind the photo op with the fugitive?
I'm aware that there was a photo op that was taken out there. Those men and women worked amazingly hard through some very trying circumstances. They're proud of their work. I'm not bothered at all by the fact that they took a photograph with him in custody. Again, they're proud of their work. They kept the community safe. I say thanks to them and good job.
Sir, did he say anything the moment that he was captured, and you released the name of the canine officer who did him during his capture?
We will probably not be releasing the name. And in terms of anything that he said, we need to use an interpreter, and he has been taken back to the station. And at that point, we will attempt to interview him at the Avondale station. I'm not aware of it. If he did, I don't have that information.
Your officers were authorized to use lethal force if he didn't actively surrender. Was the goal to always take him in alive?
That's always our first choice and preference. Again, that option is only to prevent the escape of a very dangerous individual. Had they not been able to contain him, that would have remained an option.
Who specifically made the arrest? Which organization?
It was a combination. It was a combined group of the Border Patrol and PSP.
When he went into the van, he was stripped and had his tattoos photographed. Is that normal procedure?
Yes.
When the thermal imaging happened at 1 o'clock, was he in the same location when we found him?
Wait, I'm sorry. You'd ask first, man. He was proned out. I've not been told that he was asleep. I'm told that he was proned out trying to hide and then began to crawl away.
Was it the same location when you got the thermal imaging at 1? You found him at 8?
It was in that close proximity to that, yes.
What was the weatherman when he was helping him?
no one was assisting him at that point.
Sir, what was the agency that was flying the helicopter that first spotted the key?
That was the DEA, and that was a fixed wing aircraft.
Were you worried as law enforcement that you had to down the plane and there could be another chance for escape? I mean, that's obviously the plane had to land, but what kind of risk did you have to calculate?
Well, you know, as I've told you throughout this investigation, there are always things we have to contend with. Everything isn't scripted and doesn't go perfectly. And so it's just another challenge. Worried, I don't think is the word that I would use. We simply had to adapt. And so we secured that inner perimeter while always keeping our outer perimeter secure, so that if he did manage to get out of that inner, we would box him in yet again. You know, I don't know that he was particularly skilled. He was desperate, and I've said that all along. You have an individual whose choice is go back to prison and spend the rest of your life in a place you don't want to be, or continue to try and evade capture. He chose the evade capture. He was in good shape, obviously able to climb, as you saw, to get out of prison. But ultimately, as I said all along, we had an amazing team assembled here, capabilities that are just very formidable. And I was confident all along that he would eventually be captured. And ultimately, this team, and I credit all of them for bringing together their collective experience, the resources, and being able to apply that and capture him. It's never easy to find someone who doesn't want to be found in a very large area.
Sir, previously you said you were reserving comment on if anybody was helping him throughout the search. I know you said no one helped him this morning. Can you say now that he's in custody whether he received help these last 13 days?
There were people who were intent and intended to assist him. We had been successful, to the best of my knowledge, we had been successful in preventing that assistance from reaching him.
Does that include his sister?
Yes.
There had been some frustration, some criticism from the public as this was stretching on. Now that it's over, do you consider this anything other than a success?
No, it was absolutely a success. And I got to tell you, I think by and large, the public stayed amazingly supportive. I had some third grade students stop by yesterday and drop off letters and notes of support for all of these responders. We put them out for them to see at briefing time and things. That's the kind of support we saw from this community. There will always be criticism. There will always be people who think they can do this job better, and they're entitled to that opinion. What I would tell you is, again, I put my faith in this group of experts, this group of seasoned law enforcement professionals, the dedicated men and women, not only of the Pennsylvania State Police, but of all of the other partner agencies who went out there every day. I'll put my money on them any day of the week. And I believe the community supported them and continues to.
Will he be charged with escape, and when will those charges be filed?
We'll be discussing with the district attorney what, if any, charges will be filed. But for right now, again, there is a commitment, and he is going to begin serving his life sentence at a state correctional institution. She is in the deportation proceedings. That will proceed as had been initiated. I'm sorry? I do not.
Other than the rifle, what did he have with him? Did he have anything else?
Just the clothing and things that he was wearing.
Did he attempt to shoot? Did he attempt to try to disengage?
He did not have an opportunity to, no, sir. I don't have an exact number, but looking at the teams we were sending in there, in the immediate vicinity was probably 20 to 25. Yes, they were tactical. They were a tactical team. You would expect, camouflage, full armor, long rifles, that kind of thing. Customs and Border Patrol was their BORTAC team out of El Paso, and then Pennsylvania State Police CERT. It's our Special Emergency Response Team.
Colonel, once on the ground, they've now pinpointed him, right? They're
Yes.
on the ground and they're quietly moving in place. Length of time?
From that point, probably 5 minutes. It played out fairly quickly once they had identified him and moved in. He detected them at that point once they were already in position. And again, he started to crawl away, and it played out very quickly then.
Sir, what is your greatest lesson from this 14-day manhunt?
You know, I don't know that there's any single lesson. I will tell you that I learned something from all of these, and as I told you before, I bring that experience to the next one. And so I just go back to, it's all about the team. It's about assembling the right group of people, the right technology, the people with can-do attitudes who will stick with you through the investigation. And that's what we did. And it's worked well for us in the past, and I'm sure will work well for us in the future.
Colonel, several people intending to help. I just want to see if we can get a little more detail from you on that. You did mention you did confirm his sister was intending to help. Who else might have been intending to help? I mean, can you give us any details?
And the reason I'm not going to talk about that again, as I mentioned, we will be discussing with the district attorney whether there will be any additional charges. I don't expect that there will be on that aspect, but we want to have that discussion before we disclose anything else. No, I think he stopped because his normal pattern was to travel in the late evening, earlier overnight hours. Whether he got tired or whatever, normally he typically didn't travel then later at night, and he typically did not travel during the day unless we pushed him. And we did have several instances of that where he was pushed and had to move. But, you know, he doesn't have night vision or anything like that, the type of technology that many of our operators had out there. And so traversing rugged terrain is difficult to do. I believe it was just easier for him to do in the late evening hours and late afternoon. I believe that's what caused it. It was a scalp wound, and they bleed pretty significantly. I'm told there was not any significant injury. Just one, ma'am. No, I mean, all along, you know, we asked people to secure as best they could. Unfortunately, he was still able to acquire some of those things. Again, those are just some of the challenges we deal with in an investigation like this. Our people rise to those challenges, and ultimately, again, he was successfully captured.
I know that you led the effort also in July earlier this year when that person escaped using bed sheets. It was a chocolate lab that ultimately led to his arrest, and now here we are again. You're talking about a canine moving in and basically disabling Cavalcante. Can you just kind of talk about the having canines and their use and how much of an asset they are when you're trying to navigate tough terrain and track down dangerous people?
Sure. I mean, in the case of Tucker, he was kind of a civilian. I would say we deputized, and brought him in. He's now an honorary member of PSP, but lab. But he was not involved in this. That was in Warren that this gentleman was referring to. Just, you know, I believe it's a Shepherd or a Belgian Malinois. Just 1 minute, if I can come back to this gentleman, I apologize. In any event, canines play a very important role, not only for tracking, but also for, just like in a circumstance like this, safely capturing someone. Far better that we're able to release a patrol dog like this and have them subdue the individual than have to use lethal force. And so, again, our preference is always to use other means. Canines play a very important role.
For those of us who aren't familiar with the area, can you tell us a little bit more about where he was? Was he in front of a commercial building? Was he hiding within that building, or he was?
He was in the wooded area, again, west of PA 100 there.
I'm sorry, west of.
PA 100.
Are you aware of how he was getting nourishment and, you know, liquid?
No, that'll all be part of the interview we'll attempt to do. Whether he'll talk to us or not, that's obviously entirely up to him. But that will be something that we'll be asking.
Sir, at this juncture, can you release where he worked in Chester County prior to his 2021 arrest for homicide?
Unfortunately, I don't have that the list of those locations. I know that he did a variety of jobs installing flooring, but I don't have the specific list of work locations.
How long will he be at the Avondale Barracks?
Long enough for us to process him, and however long an interview lasts with him. I don't expect it to be for a very extended period of time, and again, at that point, he'll be transported to an SCI.
Sir, was there any concern that he would team up with another small man to step inside of a trench coat, Little Rascal style?
No.
Can you give us more detail on the actual encounter with the dog? The dog tackle him, bite him?
You know, again, I didn't see this specific capture. What I would tell you is the way those dogs are trained is to simply go to the person. They will grab whatever is closest for them to grab, and then they are trained to detain that individual. They don't just keep biting and releasing or trying to cause additional injury. They simply grab onto and try and hold that person in place until officers can get there. So that's why they're never released, you know, at some great distance or unsupervised. There are officers close by who can then move in. The handler can immediately pull the dog back off of they give them a command, pull the dog back off, and then officers take over from there. He did. I don't have the name right now.
Was there any body cam footage or doggy cam footage in the situation of him getting the rest of anything happening?
Not that I'm aware of.
And then secondly, Border Patrol, are they here?
Yes.
Can we talk about the expertise of Border Patrol being here to make that arrest?
Do you want to?
What your experience played and how that made you could step up? Sure.
Now, Border Patrol is trained in tracking and pursuing. From the time an agent comes on duty, assigned to the southwest border, they get lots of experience tracking and trailing people. And then with our technology and other resources, that just aids in the searches like this one.
Different terrain than normally what you're working on, correct?
So Border Patrol is assigned to both the northern border and the southwest border. So we got training and experience in all types of terrain. We assisted the federal, state, and local partners with our resources, whether performing observation at night, searches during the day, searches during night, and then obviously we had our tactical teams here.
Question for Governor Shapiro. Governor, yesterday you described just not 24 hours right here that you were calm and that your commanders of this operation were also calm. In hindsight, how did you balance the obvious pressures from outside that were forever saying, find him yesterday?
We had a job to do, and that was to capture Cavalcante. And I had the absolute best team working on this. I'm proud to be associated with the Pennsylvania State Police and all the law enforcement leaders who were behind me, federal, state, and local. We knew we had the best, and we knew, as Colonel Bivens said multiple times, he was desperate, and it was just a matter of time. I couldn't be more proud of them. And I want to come back to two questions over here that are related to Mr. Holden's question. One was about the assets that we deployed beyond the people. I hope that the public takes great pride in the technology, in the canines, and in all of the assets that were brought to bear here. We ask a lot of the public through their tax dollars to support the police, to support law enforcement at every level. And they got a front row seat here in Chester County and across Pennsylvania to see the extraordinary work not only these individuals do, but the great technology we're able to bring to bear to ultimately capture dangerous suspects like this. The public should take great pride in that. And then to the gentleman's question there in the suit, folks, whoever had their Eagles hoodie stolen, if you could let us know, I'll do my best to get you one of those new Kelly Green ones, okay?
Governor, can I just ask you, two escapes, two different individuals from the same prison in the same year. What do you say to people who live in this area to see what is happening at the Chester County Prison, and what are you guys going to do moving forward to try and prevent this kind of thing from ever happening again?
Here in Pennsylvania, our system may be a little different from other states. We have state correctional institutions, and then we have county jails. In this case, the Chester County Jail is run by Chester County officials. They'll answer those questions as to what occurred and what changes are ultimately going to be made. Certainly, the State Department of Corrections will be here to assist in any reviews or in any other work that they need done to make sure that that facility is secured. They obviously have a lot of work to do there, and I'm confident on the leadership of Chairwoman Moskowitz and District Attorney Ryan and other leaders in the county, they'll get that done.
Is it estimated that the cost of the manhunt is about $1 million a day?
I can't put a price tag on it. We'll do our best to make sure that whatever can be tallied up is and is shared with the public. At the state level, I can't speak for our local or federal partners.
Governor, you mentioned the pattern of what time of day you would travel. Were there any other patterns that you picked up on that were key in tracking him, containing him, and then ultimately catching him?
There were a number of things that that we picked up on, and he didn't follow the same pattern every single time. Seemed to like to travel via creek beds. He liked other paths of less resistance, wood lines, power lines, gas lines, that type of thing. And that's actually fairly normal. Nobody wants to have to force their way through very heavy underbrush and things. And again, I mentioned the time of day, but all of that combined with some outstanding work and technology is really what brought this to a successful conclusion.
How many people in Chester County are grateful for your efforts? I know you mentioned on Friday you were asked about containment and capture. Ultimately, that tactic was successful. Anyone that you would like to thank at this time? I know Landhope donated breakfast yesterday. Wawa has been big help with lunch. Any small businesses you'd like to thank? And then again, the people of Chester County.
I will tell you that we have been compiling a list, and I don't want to stand here right now because I will absolutely miss many. Some of those that you mentioned have been outstanding supporters of us, and I thank them. We will publish a list of all who helped us out because we are very, very appreciative. That level of support is really one of the things that allows our people to focus on the task at hand and to try and be successful even quicker than we might otherwise have to be. When I gave you all a tour of the facility in here, I talked a lot about logistics and the support that's required to field a team of 3, 4, 5 or more hundred law enforcement officers out there. It takes a lot to put it out there. And so the help of all of those folks, the help of the average person who stopped by and dropped off a case of water was very much appreciated, not only for the case of water, but also just for the kind thoughts of and words of support that they always included when they dropped that off.
Containing the capture for that tactic was the way to go.
Yes, as I said, we always take a multifaceted approach. And so depending on the circumstances, there's always a contingency and we're always prepared to move in whatever direction we need to. I'm sorry. I don't believe any officers on the tactical teams had them on. It was a DEA fixed wing aircraft. I believe that's South Covington. I would have to look at a map. We were operating in several townships there, but again, it was north of Prizer and west of PA 100.
Where were you when this all happened? And do you have a personal feeling of satisfaction for 14 days of very long, hard work? How do you feel for you this morning?
I was here in the command post when the capture occurred, and yes, I'm very happy that this occurred and that no one was injured. It brought a new level of danger for all of our people out here in the field when we knew that he obtained a firearm. And so for me, the biggest sense of relief is that no one in the community was harmed and no law enforcement officer was harmed either. So that's the win. No, I believe he was more mobile the entire time.
Sir, what prison is he being transported to?
We're not releasing that, but it is going to be a state correctional facility. And once he is secure there, I believe they will release where he is being housed.
Sir, you said that multiple people attempted to help him. Did he have any means of communication to reach out to those people and coordinate with them as to where he was?
He did not at the time that we captured him. Yes, ma'am. Well, as I addressed a few minutes ago, yes, he had the firearm with him. Yes, he was a threat. He did not have an opportunity. I believe he was taken by surprise, and I believe the canine played a large role in him not being able to utilize that firearm. What I would tell you is, again, that it is our last choice, our last preference to use lethal force. And so while there were other options, the team did the responsible thing, did what they're trained and what we expect, and they used other options. And again, lethal force is always the last option. We have the criminal investigators that have been involved in this, everything from the escape up through the time that he has been on the run. I'm sure all of that will be included in their list of questions. Whether he'll choose to talk, I have no idea, and that will be his choice.
Can you assure or guarantee the public that this man will not escape again? Because clearly he has the ability to do that. Can you say that now?
I can assure you he will not escape while he is in our custody. He will be turned over to a state correctional institution. I have every confidence that they will be able to safely and securely house him as well.
Lieutenant Colonel, was he in the perimeter of the perimeter that you had outlined yesterday?
He was.
He was.
Yes, sir.
How close to the edge of the perimeter was he? On the perimeter?
It was within the perimeter, and he would have been within a few hundred yards of the eastern edge of the perimeter.
Colonel, in terms of the public being involved, there was video surfacing visual entities in Chester County trying to get involved in this case. Moving forward, if something like this happens again, what would you tell the public in regards to getting involved in a case like this?
I would ask them the same thing that I asked this time, and that is, please don't come out and try to become involved like that. You potentially take away resources that would otherwise be spent on the search trying to deal with those individuals, and we don't want one of them to get hurt unintentionally.
How far was the capture before the burglary happened last night?
Within a quarter mile. It wasn't a burglary. It was an alarm, by the way. But it depends on whether he is cooperative and is interviewed. That could take minutes to hours, but I don't have the answer yet. Whether he's, I'm not aware of that.
Sir, do we know if his sister and mother entered the country via Puerto Rico as well?
I don't believe his mother is here, and I don't have that information immediately available here about where they entered. As I said, his sister, though, is in the process of being deported now.
Yes. Colonel, after everything that you've been through, seen with Cavalcante, once that interpreter is there, do you plan on having a conversation with him, asking him anything about all this?
No. The investigators are quite competent. They'll gather the information that we believe is important if they're able to, and I'm confident that that everything we need will be gathered in that way. There's no reason for me to have a personal discussion with him. Well, I think it's a very bad idea, obviously, and we will be here should something like this occur again. We'll put the team back together, and we'll be right back out after them. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, it looks like this has finally come to an end. The U.S. Border Patrol strike team was the ones that brought him down with the help of a dog. He was in a prone position trying to hide, and the dog noticed his activity and ran him down. So if you see the pictures of him with blood streaking down his face, apparently that was from a bite mark as he was trying to be subdued. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know yesterday I said, screw this, I'm not covering this anymore. But I do appreciate you being here. If you could hit the like button, apparently it's supposed to help. And doesn't cost anything, it's free. Thank you so much, and we will see you in a little bit. I'm just going to get resituated here and get the Gareth Purse House Day 4 video queued up and switch the streaming RTMP codes. Have a great day, everyone. And make sure to show your support to the U.S. Border Patrol as well as the dog What a good dog. And also Nick the Hat really deserves some recognition. He's been there on the ground this whole entire time. I know JLR Investigates joined him shortly thereafter. He also deserves some recognition, but for reals, Nick and his sidekick Huang, great people. All right, have a great day.
Please remember, we're supposed to like and follow and share and comment below to help people like me grow our channel. I do appreciate it, although I'm starting to think it's kind of